welcome back everybody. It's your host, One-Eyed Willie here. Not really, but vision's still kind of screwed up from the eyeball here. Down here in the garage kind of messing around. And I'm going to flip this camera around and show you what I got going on. And alright, we're back to messing with the 710. One problem I've always had with this car was kind of the door adjustment. And you would think, as nice of a paint job as they put on this car, that they would have adjusted doors and stuff. They didn't. So now I'm going back and I'm trying to get everything kind of straightened up here. So, moral of this story is you have a door striker here, and as you notice, this one, all the paint's chipped off of it. And we'll get kind of deeper into that. But you got a door striker, and you move your door striker in or out or up or down, and you got door hinges up here at the front that have an adjustment that lets you move the door up or down and back and forth and all that good stuff, right? Well, first we got to take a little history lesson here. Way back when I painted this car, I don't know, it was probably 1996 when I painted it yellow. I couldn't get the upper door striker screw loose on this door, man. So I just left it like it was because it really didn't bother me all that much. Well, now the car's got a nice paint job on it, I was kind of, adjusting some things. Well, the first thing you'll notice is, look how low the door is. They were using door striker to hold the door up. The doors have been off this car. I've got pictures of it with the door off of it. So first off, somebody didn't do their adjustments properly, right? Well, second off, that upper door striker screw, it looks like this, little Phillips head, number 3. Up here, he still wouldn't come loose. So, and also that, our center striker here is loose in the thing. These are just pressed on with a little cat nut. So, it ended up with me extracting the nut plate right here, where you screw thread into. Well, ended up drilling the screw out because it wouldn't come loose, not even with heat. Broke 3 bits off. So I finally ended up extracting this plate and cleaning it up here. And as you notice, I've got a nut on the back side of it here. That's because I'm going to have to weld this nut on here to fix this plate. They do not repop this rear plate right here. And that is what's sandwiched between your quarter panel and your door jamb. So, just kind of show y'all what I got going on. Broke bit, broke drill bit, broke drill bit, broke drill bit, broke drill bit. If you'll notice here, I also got a piece of metal right here. And I also got a new piece of metal here. As I was messing with this, we ended up scratching some paint up, right? Usually not a big deal. Well, I noticed there's a couple little rust bubbles. Now, this car has always been a super solid car. It has no rust in the cowl. It's only has a small patch put on the passenger floor. And, just some little small patchy things. It's not a rot box. So, anyway, as in usual fashion here, things kind of escalate kind of quickly. So, a lot of y'all are probably screaming right now. This isn't a big deal. I can paint this jam. I can match this paint. As you can see, in here, that's the yellow I had the car painted. Because I cared to actually paint stuff the right way. And keep in mind, I'd done that when I was like 16, 17 years old. But the reason why we had rust, and it was along this edge right here, where this door jamb kind of has a 45 right here. Your support plate right here, Ford thought it was a wonderful idea. Now, keep in mind, over time, you get water runs down between here. You get dirt gets down between here. Now, I've wire brushed and ground this off, and I've sprayed several different primers on it, just to kind of seal it off. But basically, I know you probably can't see it right here, but right down here in your gap right here is a double walled plate. That's where your water gets in right here. So if your seals are bad up here, and just over time, you're going to have these issues. So your door striker's stuck. If your door fits reasonably well, sometimes you're better off just leave it alone. So basically in this video, I'm going to go in here. Like I said, I've done made a plate right here. Which ironically is a piece of the Pontiac hood from, Project Phoenix's donor. So I went in here and I ground off the backside. And I sprayed some primer on it. Just to help. And once I get it in here, we're going to have to cut these holes for our striker, which goes in here something like this. So let's get busy welding. Even though it's probably the last thing I need to do if my eye like it is, we're going to do it anyway because we have no self-regard for our own health. So let's get busy. All right, I'm back. When you do stuff like this, you just kind of want to spot it in, and you want to work slow. Make sure your metal don't get too hot. What I'm going to do, and this is the way I'm going to do this, I'm just going to go along, and I've got my welder turned way down. I'm just going to go along until this side's welded over here. Then I'm going to use my body hammer, and I'm going to fit this top edge. Then I'm going to come in here from the back side, and I'm going to push this where it's 100% flush here. And then I'm going to weld at my bottom seam, and then I can grind all this down. Now, you may be thinking, well, how are you going to know where the holes are at? Well, I got a pretty good idea. I can get to the back side of the panel through our vent hole here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little spring-loaded punch, and I'm going to pop it at the centers. From there, I'm going to know where I'm going to have to drill for my holes. And after I get done welding this panel in, I'm going to fix our striker plate nut there and get that addressed. But basically, your car's got a nice shiny paint job, you're never going to figure out what somebody has or hasn't done. I've known a lot of this car's history. I built this car originally, so this was kind of a surprise to me to have rust up here. So I did know about the striker screw. I figured somebody after all these years, 20 plus years, would have took that loose and adjusted the door, especially since they painted the car. So right now it looks like we're going to end up painting this door jamb, at least half of it, and burning it in. So I'm going to get back busy welding, and we'll just have to see where we get today. But my big plan is to get this panel in here, get all this ground down, and at least get our holes for our striker back in. If we have time, I want to go up here up front and take the inner fender out of it and see if we can get this door pushed up where it's supposed to be. And alright, I got this panel welded in here now. Important thing when welding sheet metal is take your time, pay attention to where your heat's at. This is slightly warm, it's not hot. Same with the panel that I put in. You put a bunch of heat in it, you will warp it, you will burn holes. Now, these welds aren't pretty, but our panel ain't coming out. And another thing I'm going to do, just like the factory, I'm going to drill 4 holes right here, and I'm going to plug weld this panel to the brace also. So basically, after this, I'm going to come in here with my flap disc, and I'm going to knock this weld down, and I'll probably have to get my die grinder in here. Clean some of this up. Once we get all this cleaned up, then we'll come back in here and we'll mark our holes for our striker and get our nut plate and all back in there. So let me get busy. And alright, I'm back, and as you can see, I've drilled some pilot holes right here. What I done, I just held my finger on the back side. I could feel when I touched the drill bit to it, and basically I got our 3 holes started. And just to verify, I held her striker up here, and her holes do match up. So if you're wondering, because the holes aren't round from the factory, they're square, how I'm going to get the square hole. So basically what I'm going to do, because I've got the old piece I cut out, and I pretty much know where the edge is by filling up on the back side here, I'm going to take and just kind of hold it up there and going to draw kind of a square out. Just kind of roughly. It don't have to be perfect. In fact, a round hole would probably work just fine in this case for this. So basically, I like to try to put and put things back the way they were. So what I'm going to do, at this point, I'm going to take my little die grinder. I'm going to have this little small side cutting bit, and I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to make her squares. And I'm going to square this one back up a little better, and I'm going to mark this one a little better. But just kind of roughly give you kind of the gist of it. That's kind of what's going on. And to clean up your welds, you just want to use a flap disc usually on a die grinder, or sometimes you have to use a little bit right like this, a metal cutting bit, to get in here on some of these tight areas. But give me just a few and I'll be back. And okay, I got my little square holes. This one's a little crooked, and this one's not quite so square, but it'll be okay. Door striker covers it. You just want that where you have the adjustment. So basically, this is ready body work now, and I've got our 4 spot welds around the striker area also secured. Come in here with our nut plate, and I weld the nut on the back side of it. It's currently cooling down, and I'm going to take this to the shop with me, and I'm going to blast this. But basically, at this point, we're ready for body work on the door jamb here. And then I'll come in here, probably on a later video, and we'll paint this. And I'll show you how to kind of paint this in. So, until then, we've reached our 500 subscriber goal. Make sure you check out the video I released yesterday about the giveaway. At 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to do an even bigger, cooler giveaway. So, until then, glitchy. So, until then, I'll see you tomorrow.